After 8 years of diplomatic freeze, Britain returned to Beijing under fire. Prime Minister Keir Starmer met Chinese President Xi Jinping, signaling a reset in UK-China relations, a move hailed by business leaders but slammed by critics as a risky gamble with Beijing. Starmer, the first British Prime Minister to visit China since 2018, told Xi he wanted a more sophisticated relationship to boost Britain's economy and security. Xi said ties had suffered twists and turns and pledged a long-term partnership that could withstand history's test.
In recent years, there have been twists and turns in China-UK relations, which are not in the interests of both countries.
The leaders spent nearly 3 hours in talks and over lunch discussing trade, global stability, football, and Shakespeare. Starmer, accompanied by over 50 British business leaders, pushed for tariff relief on whiskey exports, while Xi signalled possible visa waivers for British nationals.
Yes, we had a very good, productive session with real concrete outcomes, and it was a real strengthening of the relationship, and that's in the national interest because, of course, there are huge opportunities here in China. It's the second biggest economy in the world, and that's why we've got such a big business delegation. A lot of the discussion was about how we open up access for those opportunities, focusing, as I always do, on how is this going to be delivered back in the United Kingdom, how does it benefit people back at home.
The visit comes as Western allies hedge against uncertainty under US President Donald Trump, whose trade threats and foreign policy shocks have unsettled Europe. Starmer followed recent visits by Canada and France, as countries recalibrate ties with the world's second-largest economy. Back in London, the backlash was fierce. Opposition MPs accused Starmer of going cap in hand to China, citing approval of a controversial Chinese super embassy and warning of espionage risks. Deputy Prime Minister David Lammy defended engagement, saying ignoring China would be a dereliction of duty.
Mr. Speaker, whilst the Chinese regime still holds British citizen Jimmy Lai captive in prison, and whilst the Chinese regime continues to hunt down pro-democracy protesters on the streets of Britain with bounties on their heads, the British Prime Minister has gone cap in hand to China to ask for a trade deal on the promise of a super embassy from which the Chinese regime will continue to spy on us. The Chinese regime remains undeterred in its illegal actions against the UK and our citizens. So can I ask the Deputy Prime Minister to name one single consequence that the Chinese regime will face if they do not stop their campaign of espionage and repression?
Starmer said he raised human rights concerns, including the case of British citizen Jimmy Lai, and announced a UK-China deal to tackle migrant-smuggling gangs. As handshakes replaced hostility in Beijing, the political battle over Britain's China reset, intensified at home.